What is going on, everyone? Platinum Beast coming at you with yet another video. Today we're going to be talking about rhodium and why we need to pay attention to it, why it's important, and my thoughts on it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, everyone, so today we're going to be talking specifically about rhodium. It's not a metal I've talked very much at all about on my channel. That mainly stems from the fact that I do not have any. But I wanted to make a video talking about it, my thoughts on it, and why it kind of is doing its own thing right now. So if you've paid attention to the markets as of late, you have noticed that all of the metals took quite a big dip in the past couple days. Now, one thing I want to talk about is how rhodium has not dipped. In fact, it shot to the moon while all the other ones were coming down. Now, I'm not one to get very much into kind of the manipulation aspect of precious metals because it's not that I don't believe that precious metals are manipulated to an extent. It's just I don't really like to pick a side. I feel like I'm picking a side when I say that because I think there's some people who don't think they're manipulated and there's some people who do. And I just simply kind of maybe don't know enough about it or am not enough informed on the manipulation aspect. But I do think that, possibly that could be the reason why rhodium shot up and the rest kind of took a dip is because the other four are a little bit manipulated. Now, if you take a look at some of what other people are saying, a lot of people are saying the reason there was a dip was because of the U.S. Treasury yields increasing, I believe. And that kind of makes sense too. I did a little bit of research into that and that makes sense. But rhodium is an interesting metal because I don't think that big banks and people who are heavily invested in precious metals take that close of a look at rhodium as being a possible option for them to somewhat use to their advantage. And so I wanted to make a video talking about it and my thoughts on it. Now, do I think rhodium is a good investment? Well, I don't have any, and it's kind of hard to come by in minted form, so I wouldn't personally pick up any rhodium. Now, that's not to say that it couldn't end up being worth 5 times what it is now, which even now it's crazy high. It's not saying that it can't do that. It's just simply saying I don't have enough experience in purchasing, trading, buying, selling, and focusing on the rhodium markets. Now, these metals, I do kind of have a lot of experience in stacking and investing and weighing my options and things like that. But rhodium has not come across my platform. Now, there's multiple possibilities that could occur with rhodium, right? Rhodium could come down and other metals could come up. But in my opinion, I think that because rhodium is up so high, perhaps all the other precious metals should be that high as well. Comparatively speaking, obviously, I don't think silver is going to end up that high overall number-wise. But I do think that taking note of what's going on with rhodium while all the other metals are suffering, I don't know. I think that kind of goes in the favor of manipulation being a big part of precious metals. Now, a lot of people talk about COMEX, and they talk about the fact that COMEX does not have enough supply to meet the demand if all of the investors were to want to take physical delivery. I have heard a lot about that, and that makes sense, and that all makes a lot of sense to me. They're selling more paper, silver, platinum, gold than they are mining it or storing it at the very least. And so that could create somewhat of an issue. And a lot of people talk about that as being the main reason why the metals have not taken off to the moon quite yet. There could come a time where everyone wants physical delivery and COMEX doesn't have any, so cat's out of the bag and they have to reorganize how they do business. In my opinion, what's going to happen is the world is just going to need at the very least, silver and platinum and palladium because of their industrial uses, so much so that COMEX or no one else is going to have enough to meet demand for overall use, because the world continues to increase in population, and so with the increase in population comes more demand in industry, and the world only has so much of these metals, and rhodium is the rarest of all 5 of the metals. So that's another thing to kind of keep an eye on, or to keep your mind on, is that because rhodium is so rare, that kind of somewhat dictates its overall price. We know palladium is more rare than platinum, platinum's more rare than gold, gold's more rare than silver, but platinum is less than gold in overall value, which that's another reason why I stack platinum so heavily, is that I just think it's so heavily undervalued. A lot of people don't like to use rarity as a reason for something being valuable. In my opinion, gold, its main point of value is its rarity and its historical use, right? It has a little bit of industry use, a good amount of jewelry use, but jewelry isn't something that's needed to survive or meet some government demand or something. So gold really stems on its historical use as money and the way people see it. Platinum, palladium, and rhodium, not so much. Silver is a little bit in that category. It kind of goes back and forth one way or the other. It is heavily used in industry as well. And I think a lot of the industrial advancements that are being made could cause silver to be needed to use even more, as well as platinum and palladium. A lot of people look at cars phasing out and going electric and replacing platinum altogether, but I think platinum has even more uses than people are even giving it credit for in industry, and those uses will remain and continue to increase over time. So even if we have no cars using platinum or palladium or rhodium, there will be other uses for the metal. The metal is far too dense, far too sturdy, far too almost indestructible, I'd say. Not quite, but almost, that it will just have future uses in industry. And so I don't see that going away. In fact, I see it growing over time. Sort of at the same time cars start to slow down in their manufacturing as far as combustion engines and things of that nature. But rhodium is an interesting metal. It is so very interesting, because you can be wealthy one day and then it goes down the next, by hundreds and thousands of dollars even. And so these are a bit more stable assets, in my opinion. Rhodium has moved up and down so much, and if the other metals were ever to take the same route as rhodium, as no longer being sort of kind of manipulated or, seen or used in such a way, they could potentially increase to levels that we couldn't even imagine as well. And I think that's what a lot of stackers are kind of preparing for, as far as their overall stack growing in wealth. Now, obviously, it's also just good to stack metals for, your own personal savings account and a hedge against inflation and things of that nature. There's many different good reasons to stack, but today I'm talking specifically about rhodium. So again, I don't have any in my stack, unfortunately. I did not pick up any way back in the day when it was much less expensive, and although I probably could get some in some form or fashion, I just choose to stick to the 4 main precious metals. So that's my thoughts on rhodium and the current rhodium climate. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I'd really like to know your take. Do you have any rhodium? Is it on your plate? Is it on your mind? Are you thinking about picking it up? Things of that nature. Also, just let me know your comments and thoughts on this video. As always, I appreciate my loyal followers for stopping by. Welcome any new people to the channel. Be sure to hit that like button down below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Be sure to leave me a comment in the comment section down below. And until next time, guys, we will see you.